So that's what I needed to do. Now, for today's practice, and a warm welcome to today's practice. I've put 2 blocks here. The main reason is the support in the beginning for 2 blocks. One otherwise would be sufficient. So I'd love to look a little bit into our base, our ability to ground ourselves and be in this moment. So for that, we'll start lying down on the back. And as we come to lie down onto the floor, I will take these 2 blocks and have them within my reach. When lying down, then perhaps bending your knees, stepping your feet down onto the floor. And unless anything speaks against it sensation-wise, letting knees fall out to either side and perhaps touching the big toes together. Now I'm demonstrating that with using the blocks at a medium-high setting. I do that because my body is still cold. I'm feeling like it would be nice to open the hips, but not too fast. And this is a lovely way to just begin to ease yourself into physical sensations. If you feel you don't need any of this support, please remove it. And it could also be that you prefer a bolster underneath your legs, which is also an option. Now, when you're resting like this, there's also a change that you could make, drawing your feet in a little bit closer, letting them slide a bit further away, so that you find a place where you're really comfortable. Make sure that comfort stretches out into the pelvis and your lower back. And then perhaps letting your hands fall away. You might allow the head to gently roll a few times from side to side. Nice and slowly, mindfully staying right here in this very moment. When you feel the neck is at ease, let the shoulders soften down towards the floor once more. And you could choose to turn the palms of your hands to touch the floor and join the index and thumb together, which makes it Chin Mudra. With the palms of the hands facing down, this mudra, which we often practice with hands facing up, turns into a variation of grounding, of turning inward, and perhaps also gives you the idea of that touch onto the floor, where your body benefits. The body benefits as you let yourself sink into the ground, melting perhaps into the support that you've provided yourself with. Talking this support, if you find you would like to intensify it over time, you may lower the blocks or remove them altogether, whatever feels right for you. Let us begin by deepening the breath, slowly, mindfully in and out of the nostrils. Feeling perhaps as the belly rises, the ribs might expand, taking your breath up towards your collarbone. And today you might breathe out from the collarbone, through the ribs, down towards the belly. So on the in-breath, letting the belly rise, your ribs expand up to the collarbone, and out, down from the collarbones, the ribs relaxing, the belly slowly lowering. Continue that, breathing in from your belly to your ribs, to your collarbone, and down from the collarbones, through the ribs, through the belly. If you enjoy this way of breathing, continue. So from belly to ribs to collarbones, and out from collarbones, through the ribs to the belly. If you would like to work a little bit with your pelvic floor, you could start to lift that up and inwards towards the end of your exhalation as the tummy draws back in. But then relaxing the pelvic floor as you inhale at your belly, ribs, and space under collarbones expand. On the out breath, letting the breath slowly lower from the collarbone through the ribs, and then you might lightly lift up from your pelvic floor at the end of this exhale, relaxing it again as you're breathing in. And you might continue just like that for a few more breaths. Perhaps there's a sudden lift at the end of your exhalation where you're taking the pelvic floor up and inwards. And if you're still feeling this is appropriate for you to do, you might now start to add a silent sound of lam with each out breath. So you might still be inhaling slowly. And as you breathe out from the collarbones downwards, internally, lam. You breathe in again to fill up, and out in the silent sound, lam. Keeping your breath flowing, and perhaps the seed sound of Muladhara or root chakra, lam, accompanying silently your exhalation. One more round. Where you let go of the sound. You might still control your breathing, but perhaps just leaving it a little bit deeper. If you use support underneath the knees, you might slowly remove this support, then help or guide your knees upwards. And if that's possible, extending both legs out long. Taking a deep breath to reach your arms up over the head onto the ground. And then sliding your legs straight as they are and your arms towards the right. Keep lying on your back. We're extending through the left side of the body. So you could take a hold of your left wrist and guide the left arm further over to the right. You could also cross your left leg over your right to increase the stretch into the left side of your body. And then take a few breaths along this longer side, your left-hand side. Let them travel up, just like we did before, and then downwards as you're exhaling. That slight activation of the pelvic floor will come again. So breath in as you let the breath travel up the side of the body, and then back down, and that option of lifting the pelvic floor towards the out breath. To release, let go of the wrists, uncross your ankles, leave your limbs long and let the legs as well as the straight arms slide over to the left now. And you can take a hold here, if it's right, of your right wrist. And you could cross your right leg, that's always the leg closer to the midline, over the other. And then staying here, I'm modifying here for my left arm. It's always a choice, of course. And taking your breath now up and down the right side of the body, upwards towards the armpits, and then back down all the way as you might meet that with a lift of your pelvic floor at the end of your exhalation. So a few more rounds where your breath travels up and down the right side of the body. As you slowly release the shape, let go of the wrists, uncross your ankles, let both slide back into the center. Take a breath in to lift your arms up to the ceiling, and then let your arms release down on either side of the body. bringing your right knee in towards the chest and give that a good squeeze. Notice whether it's okay to leave the left leg out long or if you prefer to bend the knee instead. Giving this knee a good hug, and if this feels right, on an outburst, raise your nose up towards the knee. And then lying back down gently onto your back. Your right hand might cover the right kneecap. Your left arm could relax out. If you enjoy Chin Mudra, touch index, thumb together, palm to the floor. And then begin to circle gently, perhaps at first, the knee in the air, so there's a movement or rotation coming through the right hip. Then changing directions of this circle. And then changing hand on this knee. As you gently guide the knee across the body, the other hand could drop out into Chin Mudra. You might feel there's a lift of the opposite shoulder. If that is you, scale back, let your shoulder land, allowing your twist as you breathe in and out. And then slowly rolling again onto the back. Right foot steps down, left knee comes in towards the chest, an option to extend the right leg out if this feels good, and leaving you with a big hug of the left knee towards the chest. Option an outburst to lift your nose up towards the knee. Before release the head softly back onto the support. You might now take your left hand upon your kneecap. Let the right hand drop out, index and thumb might touch, palms to the floor. And starting to circle the left knee in the air. So that now movement comes through the left hip joint. And changing direction. For some reason on this side, I don't know which direction I'm going towards. So see if some of this mind boggle happens for you too. Then releasing the circles, opposite hand to the knee. The other arm can again fall out in Chin Mudra and guiding your knee across the body. Same here. If your left shoulder takes off, gently ground the left shoulder, do a little bit less in your twist. As we release the left foot back down, keeping the right leg extended, and with your left foot on the floor, use that into the mat to roll over onto your right hand side. Now you might extend both arms overhead and legs down to the end of the mat. You might also start to draw your straight arms and legs behind you. Squeeze your buttocks and push your hips forward, same as you might reach your sternum in the direction your body is facing. A side-lying banana shape, taking a deep, slow breath. And then flopping onto your back like jelly on a plate. You might now step your right foot down onto the floor and do the same. Shuffle yourself over onto the left side now. Both arms might be extended over the head, legs might be long, and you could begin to draw these extended limbs behind you as you squeeze your bottom again, push the hips forward, lift your chest towards the front. Deep breath in. And this time with just a little bit more control, rolling over onto the front side of the body. As you might rest your forehead down now, you could allow your arms to extend along your sides. If the forehead down isn't yours, you could also rest your chin down onto the floor. If you touch the palms down like I am doing on either side of the body, you could also alternatively slide both arms underneath the body. For some, in this way, the palms still stay touching the floor. Your little fingers might come together. No matter which version you're choosing, your hands are grounding you into the mat. The back is long. You're actively reaching down towards your toes. And keeping your head down as you breathe in to raise your right leg. And just holding there in full extension, reaching backwards. Top of the left foot presses into the ground, holding your pelvis stable. And then releasing your right leg back down. Encourage the top of the right foot down and a breath in to raise the left leg up. Holding here again. Keep the length in both legs. And lowering your left side down. You might now lift both sides of the floor. You might even push your hands into the ground, helping you to hold and increase the strength you're using in your back muscles. Then slowly releasing both legs down. Slide your hands up towards the shoulders. Rest them down underneath your shoulders. Ground again actively through your feet and take a gentle breath to just lift your upper body ever so slightly. Baby cobra, tops of the feet into the floor, shoulder blades down either side of the spine. Deep breath in. And on the exhale, lowering the forehead back down. Now on your inhale, push the floor away. As you come up onto hands and knees, have little shuffles, movements that feel good. Nothing in particular, just finding a way. And the way that is to be found is perhaps a child's pose, as you might sit towards your heels. You can still shuffle, wiggle, move, shoulders, back, hips. If it is right for you, you might even land this in a full child's pose, hands by your sides, head down onto the floor, all resting on a block, and allowing your shoulders to soften down. Staying perhaps in balasana or child's pose for a few breaths. And if this pose feels kind of nourishing, grounding at this point, you might begin to recite silently again the sound lam, lam. The hands are by your side. Bring them next to your knees. Take an out breath and uncurl your spine. So you're carefully coming into a seated position. You might now tuck your toes under. Lift your knees off the mat. And if this is too low, please come to stand on your feet straight away. If you can, open your feet a little and aim for malasana, where you could rest either your forearms to your thighs or the elbows to the insides of your knees. So full malasana, modified version, forearms on your thighs. Take a deep breath to lengthen your spine. Then turn your toes forward and breathe out and land in a forward bend. Turning toes back out, letting hips sink in. Finding your variation of malasana, standing or all the way towards the floor. Release your hands back down, lift your hips, turn your toes forward, folding forward, uttanasana. We'll repeat that a few times. So finding your yogic squat variation, lengthen your spine, inhale. Turning toes forward, exhale, forward bend. Aim for another 2 breaths. We will all complete these movements in the standing forward bend. And you might again wildly move, swaying, moving the body as might be necessary. And then softening all the way back down towards the legs. A long, slow outburst. Take the pelvic floor with you and uncurl the spine towards standing. Lifting through the shoulders and giving them a gentle shrug down as we land in our first standing position. Allow your feet to be in a comfortable distance and let your arms just loosely flop. Let them flop around your body. The body might willingly turn together with the arms swinging. You might increase the swinging of your arms, you might not. You could choose to even lift the heels, getting a bit deeper into these floppy arms. You can take this as far as you like into a very deep twist or keeping it gentle and even grounded in the feet. No rules, just an exploration of movement. When you come to stand back on your feet, let your arms just swing out. Do nothing about it, and they will land again. You might get that feeling of more support from the floor to draw the inner heels towards each other, perhaps opening your hands towards the front, landing in a mountain pose. On the breath in, then reaching your arms up and taking the hands down the midline, knees soft, forward bend. An inhale for a half lift. And exhale to step the right foot back into a lunge. Your choice is now a plank position. Kneeling is my choice. You could also step back and have a full plank position. Being strong in upper body, tailbone towards your heels. And exhale as we slowly lower towards the mat. You could choose to stick with baby cobras or take them a little bit further as you breathe in. And out breath to lower again. Inhaling 2 or 4. If this feels right, you might tuck toes under and reach up and back for a puppy. Some of you might lift their knees off the floor and prefer a downward facing dog. If you are in a down dog, start walking. If you're on all fours, start sliding your knees forward. Then coming to the front side end of the mat for a forward bend. On the in-breath, a half lift. And out-breath to fold it again. Use your feet into the ground and lift all the way up on a breath in. Let your hands land at heart center. A breath out. Take a couple of deeper breaths that might even move from your belly up to the collarbone and travel back down from the collarbone to the belly. Or you might add that tiny lift of your pelvic floor. Next breath in, arms might lift again. Out breath, hands through the midline to forward fold. Inhaling for half lift. And exhaling to step the left foot back into a lunge. Same options, you could use a full plank or you might lower a knee down already. Your choice. As you breathe out, lower again, keep your elbows closed. The inhale, a cobra, even an upward dog. Either on your exhale, returning back or landing on the mat. Taking as many breaths as you need to land on all fours or in a downward facing dog. Again, in a down dog, start walking on all fours, start sliding your knees forward as we meet again in a standing forward fold. The in-breath for a half lift. The out-breath to lean back in. Using your feet on the ground, rising up, breath in. And out to bring the hands down to the heart. Stay and take a deep breath in. Belly, ribs, collarbone. And out from the collarbone, through the ribs, the belly. One more. Then releasing your arms down. So for the rest of today's practice, you could choose to go without a wall. But I highly recommend you find a piece of wall. Even if that is a door like here, most things are possible just leaning against it. So that is an option. For the very first one, I won't use the door because then I would turn my back to you. But I can use a piece of furniture here as well as high enough. So find yourself something, either that piece of furniture or perhaps a wall space. And then step towards it. Have the hands at about shoulder height when you're lowering. I'm modifying here with one of my arms, but maybe both arms are resting against the wall, hands flat, or onto a surface. See if you can soften your knees a little, dropping into the back, but keeping it long and straight, kind of like a neutral spinal position. Feet are at hip distance, shoulders and head might be aligned. The shoulders at the back are opening. So this is a downward facing dog against the wall. Can you feel your stance? Can you perhaps see it when you look into your camera? Allowing your back to be like this. And perhaps from here an in-breath to raise the right leg up. Once the right leg comes up, perhaps it rises all the way, perhaps it is a little bit lower. A warrior 3 variation. On the next out breath, draw your right knee up towards your chest, around your spine, and then step the foot towards the wall or your hand support. Bend into the right knee, and then use your feet and lift your hands up towards heart center. So when we're pulling the feet inwards now, we've got a warrior 1 stance. If you like, you could even reach your arms up or even open the hands, lifting your gaze. But stay connected to your feet as they draw in towards each other. Virabhadrasana 1. To release it, lengthen the front leg lightly. Bring your hands back upon the wall or support. And step the right foot back in alignment with your left. And if you then carefully lower again, softening through your knees, you might be able to come back to that spinal position from before. Shoulders are lightly rolling open at the back. Armpits more looking toward each other than the floor. Find your spine long. Notice your inner support that is needed. And then perhaps a breath in to raise your left leg up. If you can raise the left leg up in alignment with your spine, fully trusting into the supports that you're holding on to, pointing toes towards the ground perhaps. Another warrior 3. And with the exhale, draw the left knee in towards the chest around your spine. And aiming to step this foot towards the wall or support as you land on the foot, bend the knee. Then use your feet and bring the hands to touch at heart center. Back in the warrior 1 stance, begin to draw the feet in towards each other. And perhaps only lifting the arms or separating them. The gaze might be forward or up, depending on your choices. The strength and foundation when the feet are active in the warrior maybe give you that sense of strength and confidence. As you release the front knee, let the hands come back down and take a step forward so you're standing right in front of your wall or support. I will change my position now for different reasons. I would love you to stay near a wall if you found one. I will begin with the right side of my hip leaning against the wall. The right leg is also forward and the toes are pointing out in front. The back foot is in a slightly angle so the heel is a bit further out. While I'm still leaning against the wall, let the hand slide down the front leg. The feeling that you get here in your spine might be similar to that of the downward dog. But instead of pushing into the knee here, ground to the ball of your front foot. Bring the palms of your hands to touch and keep reaching into the length of your spine like in a downward dog. But then as you take a breath, let the left hand come up the right arm. Roll the left shoulder back. Hand might slide into the side of the waist and attach your back towards the wall if it gets there. Keep the pressure down lightly into the ball of your front foot and only an option to extend the left arm all the way against the wall. Finding yourself in a side bend and perhaps supporting with the hand against your inner thigh. Trikonasana. On the breath in now, bending into your front knee. And then slowly reversing that. You might not need the wall here, as both legs are long, reaching your right arm up. Now there's a major thing that I forgot. So I will bend my knees, roll in, and reach for a block. The block is again optional to use. I will place my block down here in front of the foot, but I will keep a space between the toes and the block. The left hand is in the side of the waist. I'm leaning my hip against the wall and lifting my left leg. So if I'm lucky, the foot is flexed, the left heel or leg touches the wall. It's not important how high you go, but keep the hips opening. And if the hips can open, perhaps your shoulders can open too. And you might stand again flat against the wall. Option to raise your left arm. And as we are so nicely supported here, you might even look up towards the top hand or down towards the block. Ardha Chandrasana, the half moon. I find it's quite liberating when done against the wall, taking away that element of balance. As you slowly release that balance, bring your hands down, land your feet next to each other, and soften your body down towards the forward bend. Long, slow out breath from here to uncurl the spine. Give shoulders a lift and a shrug. We'll turn around, so now facing the other side, leaning the left side of the hip against the wall. Left toes are pointing forward, right heel is a tad bit out. Hands to the left side and letting them slide down. While I'm comfortably leaning my hip against the wall, I'm aiming to keep the spine long. Now there's a bit of pressure into the ball of the front foot at this point, and both hands might touch on the inside of the leg. Keep this length in the spine like a downward dog. And here comes your next option. On the breath in, the right hand might start to slide up the arm, come to rest into the side of the waist. And I'm trying to keep myself attached to the wall, perhaps even the shoulder aiming there. And as a last option, the right arm could extend against the wall as well. While I feel like I'm attached to the wall, I'm still applying a bit of pressure against the inside of the leg with my hand, helping gaze up or down, your choice. Trikonasana. Release that by a bend into the front knee and then reversing the shape where you might not need the wall here. Then we'll repeat the same movement. Let's bend the knees, reach for the block, take the block in front but away from your toes. Take the right hand into the side of the waist and perhaps the right leg is lifting. Flex the foot and turn it open and see if you can open your hips so the leg can rest against the wall. Perhaps the shoulder is opening again. Maybe your arm is extending. Keep a flexion in the foot. See if you can lean more against the wall than the block. Find your inner strength. Have fun. And maybe even choose to look up or down. Turning to a half moon shape or Ardha Chandrasana. Let's release the feet next to each other, the body to a forward bend. Just like we've done before, move a little. Then aim for an outburst to uncurl your spine back towards standing. Give shoulders a lift and a shrug. And begin to stand tall like a mountain. I would give you an alternative to our next pose. Doing this against the door needs to be really solid. If you've got a normal door, not a sliding door, the door will be solid. But if you have a piece of wall, even better. If you find my suggestion sounds very crazy, you're probably right. But if you've got that solid support, you might want to explore. If you don't, please stand steady and practice a normal tree pose. I'm after an upside down tree. So for that, I will place myself with the feet near the wall, but doing so from a downward facing dog. And I suggest you have a little look at my setup, but I won't fully go into it. This is your way of exploring it too. So down dog with your feet near the wall. You might now, if you stand on both of your hands firmly, bend your right knee and place the foot onto the wall right near your buttocks. Now, if this was a solid wall, I could step my foot up there and bring the second foot there too. Sometimes it's just enough where we are. If you were to get up the feet onto the wall, you would have almost a square. Your bottom, your upper body, your legs against the wall. So your choice to practice that, one foot up the wall from a down dog. Or if you find this is absolutely crazy, bring both feet up. And if you find all of this is mad, you're probably right too. And I would encourage you to stand in your tree. Just a couple more breaths, no matter which option you have chosen. And so to bring us back down to the earth, I would ask all of you to bring the hands down, the knees down, and come to rest in a supported child's pose, fists stacked, forehead resting on the fist. So that no matter which tree you are practicing, the upside down tree or your standing tree, you're still connecting more towards the ground, the earth. The good news is we will do it again. So while you might lift your torso, it is your choice to come back to standing. Or if you were experimenting on the other side and then changed your mind, try and do the same here. So I will approach again a down dog where my feet are near the wall. Then bending my left knee so the foot taps down near my bottom onto the wall. If your wall is solid, step the second foot up there or even hold here. If you prefer to use your upwards tree, find it standing. Again, we will repeat what we've done before. Landing both feet onto the ground, Bringing hands and knees to the floor and curling back into a child's pose. If you enjoyed the supported version, have the other fist on top and snuggle in. On your next exhalation, then uncurling the spine towards a seated position. Give your shoulders a little lift and a shrug down. And I will change now to a support by a blanket. You can also use the rolled up end of your mat to sit upon. I will make sure that I've also got a block nearby for support. And as I sit lightly elevated, but on a soft sitting support, both legs can come out in front. We'll begin by bending the right knee. Left leg is extended, and perhaps the knee rolls out towards the side. Now my foot is fairly high up the inner thigh, but it can rest up anywhere. The block might be a lovely support underneath the knee. Let's bring the fingertips down, bend the straight leg, flex the foot, push your fingertips into the ground to lengthen your spine, inhaling. And on the exhale, slowly walking or leaning forward. I always start this with the knee bend. Simple reason is to encourage the forward fold from the hips. So as I lengthen my spine, I lean my belly towards the side. Then I might choose where to place my hands. It's fine even if you touch the foot, but keep your toes looking upwards. The head might lower at some point. And if your belly is comfortable against your thigh, you might even slide your heel out a bit further and aim to deepen the forward bend, or Janu Asana, head to knee pose. Important here is the flow of each breath. This present moment where the breath is flowing. The solid connection towards the ground. On the next breath, wave your spine long, about halfway out of the shape. Let your hands slide back up towards the body. You might even lengthen the long leg out fully. Leave the other leg as it is. Place the left hand fingertips behind you and the back of the right hand the other side around. I'm so sorry. Left hand to the outside of the knee, right hand fingertips behind. Keep a flexion on the long leg. Push the floor away to sit up tall, then brace out and find the twist. Leaving shoulders easy, eyes might lightly close if you like. As you turn towards your side, keep yourself deeply grounded through both sides sitting bones. A breath in to turn the head forward and out to release the form, extending the right leg out long. Now I'm shuffling a little bit to rearrange my body. Left knee then bends and the knee falls out. And if you enjoy the support of a block, place it underneath. Sole of the foot can be high up or a little bit lower, but fingertips to the floor. And as we lift up, the right knee is bending, foot is flexed. Take a deep breath to use your hands to lengthen the spine. And then start to sway or lean your belly towards the thighs. And the same here, you might start with your knee bent. Feel the belly touching the thighs or getting closer. Perhaps the head begins to lower from there. And the shoulders are finding an easy place in their socket. And you might like to slide the heel a bit further out, but only if that feels right in the rest of your body. And then come into this present moment. Allow yourself to breathe deeply and have the breath in your awareness just as much as you might deepen the posture by that deeper breath. Stay connected to the sensation and back out if you need to. Breath in where you lift up halfway. Find your way back, hands sliding or walking. Perhaps extending the long leg fully, but keeping the foot in a flexion. Left hand fingertips behind. Grow up tall in your spine and the back of the right hand to the outside of the bent leg. And then exhale to turn into a twist. Keep shoulders easy again. Perhaps even close your eyes, but maintain your focus. Is the long leg active? Are you sitting on both sides, sitting bones? On the breath in, turning the head forward, and on the out breath, releasing the whole shape. Now I will come off my sitting support and use that back as a cushion. I will also keep the block by the side as we so often do. So I'd ask you to do the same. Have the block down by your side and then roll down onto your back, landing your feet onto the floor. You have as many shuffles as you might need to align your spine and soften the shoulders down. Once we're here, if you find you need your block to be lower, please don't be shy. Block flat on the floor is perfectly fine under the sacrum. The block will otherwise go under the sacrum as well, but today in a long way if it works for you. So that one shorter side, block halfway up, is facing your torso, and we're resting the sacrum onto that end just up there. So for that, lifting your hips up, taking the block under and sliding it underneath the sacrum only. When we're resting like this, you might find that it's not only your spine hanging off the block, it's also the buttocks hanging loose and the glutes relaxing. With that, there is a light openness happening in the pelvis. If you find this is too much for you, land the block the other way and perhaps flat down. If you can hold here, let your arms release by the sides, and you might join again your index and thumb together for Chin Mudra. Then allowing yourself to be in the bridge and breathe. Any discomfort, please change the position. If suitable, relax into it. As you may or may not have practiced an upside down tree or handstand, I'll offer another light inversion, so yours to choose to do or not to. If you find it very comfortable where you are, you could just stay. Or you would squeeze your hips back up, turn the block around, back under the sacrum, but in its usual way, squared off. I've got mine halfway up, but it could be flat at this point. I will take a hold of this block for stability and then bring one knee after the other over the chest, then extending legs towards the ceiling. If you still feel solid without your hands on the block, relax them, come back to Chin Mudra, touch the floor on either side. And you might push your heels up here or your toes. And you might even play with both variations for a little while, pointing and flexing. You might hold your feet pointed and pull your toes back to finish off. And start to relax your toes. Soften the knees back towards the chest. If you think you need to hold onto the block, that could be true. And then stepping one foot down after the other. Lifting the hips up into the air, removing the block and taking time to roll back down onto the back. Nice and slowly. As you relax the spine down, let your feet wiggle out, knees fall in, constructive resting pose. And you might ever so slightly turn your hips from side to side. I prefer my hands facing up so the shoulders are a bit easier. The head is heavy and it might just roll gently from one side to the other. There might be a sense of ease arising in the neck after a while. You could settle into the upper body. You might separate your knees and let them gently rock from side to side too. If you find you would prefer to hug the knees to the chest, you could do so. This is only to find ease in your body, to eventually place a bolster underneath the knees, let the knees fall back in if you prefer constructive rest, or let your legs come out long. If you enjoy holding a mudra during your relaxation, I suggest palms back down, index and thumbs touching together. Absolutely no obligation to do so. And as you settle into your form of resting pose, I will add an extra sound, only to turn the bright lights off. As you find into your Shavasana, take a moment to notice the ground underneath. The trust that you can have just resting here, your whole body held and supported. As you might enjoy just following the flow of your breath or the sensation of being held. You could also choose to take your internal gaze up to the third eye point, that space between the eyebrows. With your mind's eye, imagine a deep red ball of light. Draw this ball of red light down to the base of your body. Then perhaps visualize the ball opening into a beautiful red lotus flower. You could imagine that with each inhalation, the petals of the lotus flower unfold, and with each exhalation, the petals of the lotus flower close again. Each inhale, the lotus flower, red in color, unfolds. Each out-breath, the petals come back in. Just like the lotus flower is opening and closing its petals along with your breath flowing in and out. So is your base opening and contracting lightly with each breath. You might, if you enjoyed it, bring in and back the sound of lam, lam, lam. As you keep your flower opening on the in-breath and the lam and the closing of the flower on the out-breath. Lam, lam. Continue like this for a little while. As you complete with your next out-breath the repetition of lam, let go of the lotus flower, but perhaps keep it resting in your base. And you might conclude by repeating out silently or aloud, I am always safe at the center of my being. I am always safe at the center of my being. I am always safe at the center of my being. Allow a few more breaths by staying restful. And although we focused on Muladhara, our root chakra today, the card from the Namaste deck that came up is saying a blessing of acceptance. Every part of you is equally worthy of love. Accept yourself as you are, and this will be a blessing unto yourself and others. If you wish to see the truth of the matter, hold no preference, either for or against the particular outcome. Just be the love that you truly are. You might allow yourself to deepen the breath now. Extend a little or move. Maybe you're extending a lot. When you're ready, you might roll over onto your side or even rise up over the front of the body, joining me in a seated fold, where we might join the hands together again in Anjali Mudra in front of the chest. Eye gaze low, your eyes closed. Appreciating the energy that we have in our base, and perhaps there's still a light visual of the red lotus flowers in there. While all this love might reside in our heart center, as we bow and gently extend toward each other. Namaste.